you guys were wondering what the best CS2 loadout is, I'm going to show you guys in this video. I'm going to go over pretty much what the best loadout is. Now, this one isn't perfect, so I am going to switch this up in the video, but it's very important to note that some of this is preference, but there is also some advantages to what you put in your loadout, which I will also go over. But before I show you guys the best CS2 loadout, make sure you guys check out the sponsor of this video.
Today's sponsor is Skins Monkey. Skins Monkey is a CS2 skins trading site and marketplace that provides an instant way to get new skins. My favorite thing about Skins Monkey is that I can trade skins that I no longer want and trade it for a skin that is equal value. If you use code LouisCS2, you get a $5 bonus on your first trade. If you want to buy skins, you can get a 30% deposit bonus plus an extra 5% using my code. The link is down in the description.
So to start off this video, we will first go over the T-side loadout. Now, obviously, this is what mine is at the moment, but this is also my preference. But I'm going to show you guys what the best is and kind of explain to you why it is the best. So obviously for the starter pistol, there is only one, and it is obviously the Glock, so you can't change this. But if you guys didn't know, CS2 did announce that they were maybe gonna put in some new guns later down the road, so I do think eventually we will see a different starter pistol for the T side, but as of right now, we obviously only have the Glock. Now, moving on to the other pistols. Now, this is where it could kind of get, you know, a little bit more weird, because there is obviously the revolver, and then there's obviously the CZ. Now, the dualies on T side really aren't that important. I think they are kind of a good eco weapon if you can shoot them very quickly. You know, maybe you go underpass and someone is pushing under and you're, you know, really close right here. If you can sit here and just spam really fast, obviously this is going to shoot very quickly, and this guy's going to have an MP9 probably running across your screen. So you could also abuse some running accuracy as well with the dualies and probably get a nice free kill if you do have these equipped on the T side. But I don't think they're really bought that much. So if you don't want the dualies on T side, you can obviously put in, you know, the CZ if you really want to. So that is something to remember. Now, the P250 is a good weapon because it has some pretty good accuracy. It's a pretty good range, unlike the dualies here, which is why you could obviously put in the CZ instead. If I were you guys, I would definitely, you know, either have the dualies or the CZ equipped, but the P250 is definitely a guarantee that you guys need in your loadout. Now, moving on to the Tech 9, this is something that you guys actually need to have because the Tech 9 is very overpowered, not only with its range, but its running accuracy is crazy. As you can see, I mean, my bullets are literally just going straight as I'm strafing back and forth. It's just like the dualies, you just have a little bit less ammo and you just have a little bit more range, and I think you can actually shoot the Tech 9 a lot faster. So if you are quick with a Tech 9 and you have that nice trigger finger because you played Call of Duty growing up, the Tech 9 is definitely what you want, especially on those eco rounds, because you can just run up and just spray someone like this is an SMG. And you're probably going to get, you know, a couple of easy free kills, especially with this long range accuracy that you have with this gun. It is definitely a little bit overpowered. Now, everyone does need the Deagle. The three takeaways I would say for the pistols are you need the P250, the Tech 9, and the Deagle. I'm not someone who likes the R8 because I think the Deagle is obviously one of my best guns. If you guys do watch my stream on Twitch, when I buy a Deagle, I usually am guaranteed like one free kill. So it's actually one of my favorite guns in the game. And it's also a very fun gun to use as well if you're trying to get some nice highlight clips. Now, moving on to the mid tier here, this is your SMGs, your shotguns, your LMGs, and stuff like that. The MAC-10 is very important. This is such a goated eco round weapon, or like a half buy, or if you know the other team is on eco, you can just farm some really good money with this and farm some easy kills. The MAC-10 has really good running accuracy as well, so you can literally just run around shooting this gun and you're gonna see my bullets are literally going where I want them as long as I'm following the recoil. So you definitely do need the MAC-10. Now, the MP7 is something that you don't need. You have so many more options that you could use. Like maybe if you want the P90 or slot in a shotgun like the Nova has really good range. I like to have two SMGs, you know, on my loadout for some reason. The MP7 actually has some really good range. The only thing is the recoil is kind of weird. As you can see, I mean, my bullets are literally going right down my crosshairs. So if you are someone who does like SMGs and like to, you know, kind of run and shoot a little bit, as you can see, my bullets are going pretty straight. This is definitely a good gun. Now, I know the armor penetration isn't that good in the MP7, which is why the MAC-10 is a little bit better. But if you are looking for an SMG with some more range, you can definitely put that on. Now, with the shotguns, you definitely need the XM. This thing is definitely in meta right now. You see a lot of players using this and abusing it. Like, for example, over here on B apps, there's a lot of players that like to just sit here with the shotgun, or, you know, maybe they're in ladder room with the XM, just sitting here getting these free kills. This gun is definitely overpowered because you can actually just hold down mouse 1 and it's just going to keep on shooting. So it's not even something where you have to keep spamming your mouse. You can literally just hold it down and it's like a rapid fire shotgun. I definitely recommend having the MAC-10 and the XM on your loadout. Now everything else, it doesn't really matter. I don't think you need, you know, an LMG on here or anything like that. Some pros have started using the ump again. I don't think it's really that good, but you could have this on there as well. So you pretty much have like 3 slots to do whatever you want, but you definitely do need the MAC-10 and the XM 100%. Now moving on to the rifles, you 100% need the Galil. This is a $1,800 M4 pretty much. This gun has so many bullets as well, as 35 bullets, and the spray is actually pretty easy too if you guys just sit down for 10 minutes in the recoil master map. I made a video on that as well, so if you guys want to go check that out. But it's a very good gun to use, especially if you just got bombed down, you know, you have enough money to buy this. You pretty much have better guns than the CTs, so it's very good that you guys have the Galil on your loadout. Now obviously everyone needs the AK-47. This is very obvious, but this is where we start to get into, you know, the deciding factor of what you really want on your loadout. So you can opt in to, you know, have the auto sniper, which is right here. If you guys want that on your loadout, you can use that instead of the Krieg. I don't find myself really ever buying the Krieg at all, because I just obviously think it's kind of a trolley gun, unless you're maybe someone that's trying to look for a pick. If you're like an opper and you just want to, like, you know, obviously just scout somewhere and just kind of, you know, get some info, maybe try to kill a jump spotter. You guys want to B-pop and you have to hold market window and you don't have an op, this could be a very good option. But obviously, again, you don't really need to have it. You could have an auto sniper on here, and if you do put the auto sniper on here, you're obviously going to have the scout and the op. You definitely do need an op at all times, because either you might need one or your teammate might need one, so you always want to make sure you have an op on your loadout. I think that's very important. And then obviously having a scout as well. I'm very good with the scout, just like I am with the deagle, so I always make sure I do have a scout on my loadout. But you do have this free slot right here, because since you already have 2 rifles, I don't know if you actually need a 3rd one, so you could just throw an auto sniper in here if you want to troll, because there's actually not that many options on the T side. All right, now let's move on to the CT side loadout. Now this one is very important because there is actually a lot of good options on CT side. Now for the starter pistol, I think this is all preference. I use the USP at the moment. As you can see, the P2K does have 1 extra bullet, and I don't really see that much of a difference in them. I'm sure someone's probably broken it down on YouTube a long time ago, but I'm more comfortable with the USP. So if you don't know what starter pistol to use, what I would do is definitely just go deathmatch with the aimbots and find which one you're more comfortable with, and you'll definitely be able to decide your starter pistol, because I don't think there's really that big of a difference. But moving on to the other pistols, this is what is important. Now I do think you need dualies. There's so many good CT setups that you can use for dualies, and even if you aren't using these, you can also just drop them for your teammates. You know, maybe you guys want to do a little setup where you're playing on Balk with dualies here, or maybe you have a nice little base setup where you have dualies, the B-apps Balk, and maybe someone's like below the window. So this guy's, you know, getting some damage when they're jumping out, and this guy's just shooting when they are falling. You know, dualies are very in meta right now, so you always want to make sure you have these on, because there's probably a teammate out there that wants those on pistol round, and it's very good to be a helpful teammate, so make sure you always have that. Now, the P250, this is where you can kind of switch it up, right? You can have the P250 on, or you could put in a CZ and then just remove the 5.7. I think the P250 is something that you need to have, because again, it's a $300 pistol, just like the dually. So if you are on eco, it's very good to use this P250, because the accuracy is very good. Honestly, a lot of people like Flom get so many kills on eco rounds with the P250 because he just understands how to use this gun. It's a very good gun that has some recoil. If you spam it, you do have to pull down a little bit like this. So if you can kind of master that a little bit, you can definitely guarantee a free kill. So I think it's very important to have a cheap eco round gun in your loadout, just so if you are, you know, kind of broke and you do want to buy next round, you can definitely afford this pistol. Now with the 5.7, like I said, you can swap in the CZ if you really want to, but the 5.7 is pretty OP because it is a instant headshot close range. So I do think this is a very good pistol, especially when you have 20 bullets. You can actually shoot it very quickly. So this gun is actually kind of OP, I think, but it's not like overly OP. But this is definitely one of my favorite pistols to buy on an eco, because I feel like when I get close range, I'm just so confident that I'm just going to one tap whoever is in front of me. So it's very important that I always have this on my loadout. But if you are someone that likes to, kind of run and gun a little bit more, and maybe you think you could be a little bit more accurate, I would definitely put on the CZ. And then obviously you do need the Deagle all the time. Like I said, it's one of my favorite guns, and I'm guaranteed a free kill. So if you guys actually want to master the Deagle, I did make a video on that a long time ago that you guys can go and check out. Maybe you guys can get as good as I am with the Deagle, but it's very important to have because the Deagle is an instant headshot and it can actually guarantee you guys a lot of good kills, especially if you have good crosshair placement as well. Now the mid tier, obviously you need the MP9. The MP9 is definitely the most OP SMG. It might even be the most OP gun in the game at the moment. The running accuracy is so insane on this, and the recoil isn't even that hard. If you learn how to master it, you'll definitely be able to get some kills. There's a NA Pug Star at the moment that is so good with MP9. He pretty much buys it every single round. So I definitely recommend that you guys do understand how to use this gun. And since it shoots so fast, as long as you have really good recoil, your time to kill will definitely be insanely quick as well. Now, I do have the ump on, and in my opinion, you don't really need the ump. Again, you can switch this with pretty much any gun in here that you want. This is, again, all preference. Like you have the P90, the MP5, or maybe you want an LMG in there, like the Negev or the M249. You can definitely do that as well. But like I said, on the T side, moving on to, my last three, I do have the XM because the XM is so OP. This is definitely a gun that everyone needs to have because there is situations where you might need to use it. And also the money bonus when you do get a kill with this is pretty good as well. Now, I have the Mag 7 as another shotgun because I do think the Mag 7 is very, very good, especially with jumping accuracy. This thing, the spread is just insane. So if you don't like the XM, I would definitely be using the Mag 7, or as I call it, the Swag 7. This gun is very, very good for close range combat, just like the XM. And then obviously I have the MP5. But like I said, you guys can, put in an LMG in here if you want, or switch in another SMG. I think it's just very important that you do have the MP9 on your loadout. Now, moving on to the rifles, this is where it can get a little bit tricky because CT side, we have a lot of options for rifles. Now, I have both of the M4s. Even though they're $100 difference, it really depends where I'm playing on the map because the A4 has a little bit more ammo. As you can see, it has 30, and the A1S has obviously 20. So if I'm someone that maybe I'm starting a window for a round, I'm obviously going to buy an A1S because it's more of a laser than what the A4 is. And the recoil, as you can see, is a lot easier to control. Now, for a position that I would use the A4 in is if I'm obviously like an anchor. Like if I'm anchoring the B site, I want all the ammo that I can get because it's very important to me that I want to get one kill, but I also want to stay alive without having to reload. Like if I'm sitting here jump spotting and then all of a sudden I fall back and maybe I whiff on this guy and waste like 10 bullets. I would rather have 20 bullets left over than 10 if I was using the A1S. So it's very important to me that I do have a lot of ammo when I am on an anchor site, so I can definitely hold down the fort, as I like to call it, because this is my fort that I am defending. So that's just something to keep in mind. Now, if you don't want to use two M4s, you can obviously put in a FAMAS. Now, if you don't use the FAMAS, you need to have the MP9. I'm someone who will use the MP9 over the FAMAS any day of the week because I think the FAMAS's recoil is kind of difficult to learn, and I think the MP9 is just a lot more overpowered even at long range than the FAMAS. I just prefer the MP9. So if you are someone that doesn't like the FAMAS, you definitely need to have the MP9 on your loadout. Now, also, if you're someone who doesn't like the AUG, you can definitely put the FAMAS in here, but I think the AUG is really good in situations where, like I said, if I'm someone that's starting in window, I can hold this run out, or maybe I'm starting ticket booth. I can obviously scope in right here and just spray these guys coming out A. The AUG is definitely a good weapon if you understand how to use it. And especially if you're newer to the game, I would actually abuse this gun as well. I know Kojomo also talked about using the AUG, and he's someone who uses the AUG a lot. So if you are someone who maybe are struggling using rifles on the CT side, I would definitely start buying the AUG more. If I'm having a rough CT side half, I actually start buying the AUG, and I get a lot more kills than what I would if I was using an A4. So this is definitely something I recommend in a loadout if you notice that you struggle on the CT side. But if you're someone who doesn't like the AUG, you can definitely put the FAMAS into this slot, and you won't really have any problems. Now, obviously, you do need the op in your loadout, so we won't even really talk about that. But I'm someone, again, who likes to scout, so I do have a scout. So you do have a lot of range to move around where, you know, maybe you like the AUG, but you don't like the scout on CT side, so you put the FAMAS in here, or maybe you switch one of these for an auto sniper. Since I'm a competitive player, I really never buy an auto sniper, and I don't think I've ever bought one in CS2, so I never have one in here, and you'll never see me really have one in there as well, because, you know, I'm using the weapons that I think I can win around with, and that's what I have in my loadout. So when you guys are making your loadout, make sure you guys are putting in the weapons that you think you can win around with. Don't just put in, you know, whatever you want to or whatever you think is good. It's just pretty much whatever you're comfortable with. And just for another time, this is my T side loadout, and this is my CT side. So if you guys did like the video, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Comment down below if you guys have any questions, or if you think my loadout could have some changes, but I do think this is one of the most perfect CS2 loadouts out there. So again, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you like the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.